Well, this week I figured the dolls needed some fried eggs to go with that bacon we made the last couple of weeks. Stay tuned and see how fun and easy this project is. Alright, to make our sunny side up eggs for the dolls, we need 2 batches of clay. We need some yellow, and this one happens to be Primo Cadmium Yellow. You could also use Fimo Goldenrod or Golden Yellow. It's a very similar color, and I'm sure Sculpey has a good egg yolky yellow color. I'm not sure what it would be. I didn't have any. Then we need our white mixture. And I say mixture because this is equal parts white and translucent. Any brands, doesn't matter, because you're not trying to get, fine detail. And I've been playing around here. I actually made a bunch of these and showed them on the Facebook group and then realized they were way too big. So I'm starting over this morning. So I wanted to do one and see what my sizes were. So we're going to start with some clay. And we want our clay, where is the hole in my, about 5/8 of an inch in diameter. You don't want it round though. And you're going to kind of mush it down. It's okay if there's a few fingerprints because we're going to coat this. But you're going to kind of work it out. Remember, fried eggs are never round unless you have a ring thingy for them to go into. And we're not making that kind of egg. We are making just a standard fried egg like you'd fry in the skillet. Okay, looks about right. Start out getting it flat. And don't put them too close together on your tile. You're going to need some space between them. And yeah, we are working on a tile today for a couple of reasons. Number one, eggs, it's okay if they're shiny on the bottom. But also because we are going to be putting a big thick coat of gallery glass on these. It's an important step in this process. And gallery glass will stick to things like paper, like our usual paper plates. So if we were to put this on a paper plate and put gallery glass over it, we would end up with little bits of paper stuck to our eggs, and we don't want that. That wouldn't look like something good to eat. So you see, I'm just rolling balls of clay, and I'm making these kind of eggy shaped little plops. And don't throw away this clay. Clay that is half white and half translucent, I use a lot. That's one of my stock colors, stock mixtures. I've got something on my tray. This is just a paint scraper. I use this to scrape the tile between uses. I a lot of times keep a bag with the white translucent mixture because that's the start for a lot of foods if you haven't noticed. Alright, so our idea here is we want these to be about around 1.25 inches in diameter when we're done. So that's, alright, those will do. Now, our yellow color. I'm going to run this through my pasta machine just to get it soft because it's been sitting here. It was well conditioned before I turned the lights and the camera on. Alright, now for this one, what we're looking for is a ball, and this one you want round. You want this pretty round. We are going to start with a ball that's approximately, if I can find it on my handy dandy measuring thing here. That's a little big, but I think it'll be okay. We want about 3/8 of an inch. I'm going to take just a little bit of clay off. We want to start out at 3/8 of an inch. Make a ball, and then make a nice flat ball. And this you want to be about 1/2 inch in diameter. We're going going to stick that at some point on our egg. And I'll show you a side view here when I get all done. Let's do that a couple more times. And then I'll show you what it looks like from the side. Because you want those egg yolks to be standing up a little bit. It's like that. Push down. Try to keep this as round as possible. We're not making an egg with a broken yolk. If you would like, we could do that another time, but not today. Come on. These eggs, whenever I make these in clay, they always remind me of my dad, because my dad loved his sunny side up eggs. I was never a big fan, but they were always his thing. And my boys all like their eggs that way. It's funny, all three of my sons love their eggs just like Grandpa did. And let's put this one off to the side more. I've been putting these a little too center for my taste. It's what happens when I get busy talking. Yeah, you can see that one. I'm using this so I don't distort the shape too much when I'm trying to pull it up. And don't worry about little bits of clay left on your tray. Just scrape them off with one of these things. Alright, because this is all raw clay, it will bake together, but there you can see kind of the side view. You've still got a ball there. So I am going to go and bake this at 230 degrees. I like to drop the temperature a little bit. It's because we have translucent. As we talked about in our Clay 101 series, translucent clay can discolor, it can darken if the oven's too hot. I'd rather cook at a lower temperature for longer when I've got translucent. So 230 degrees, and I'm going to bake these for about 10 minutes because as you saw, we've got some height here. We don't want to risk not baking this through. So I'm going to bake these, and when they're cooled, I'll come back and we'll do the next step. Alright, so the clay is all baked and it's pretty well cooled. So now we are going to coat it with gallery glass. This is crystal clear gallery glass. It goes on a creamy white and then it turns clear. And I'm just putting some straight on, and then I'm using a paintbrush. Be sure you coat the whole thing and go down around the edges just a little bit. Don't go too much, don't go crazy, but you want a little bit. You know how the white always runs out kind of clear at the edge of your egg. Make sure the clay is all covered. And then an optional step, but I love the results from this. We're going to take just a little bit of amber. This is the same amber we used last week with our bacon. Put it off to the side, and using a toothpick, just go just a little bit right along the edge. Not much. This is one of those things where you can very quickly put way too much. There. Now, the next one. And I like to do that pretty quickly because if you wait, this clear will kind of get a skin over the top of it and it makes it a little harder to get that to go in. Kind of tuck the gallery glass down under the yolk. Make sure all your clay is coated because you don't want any dull clay showing. And if you come back later and you found that you missed some, once this is dry, feel free to go ahead and put a second coat on of the clear. Especially in those areas where you ran over the edge of the clay. Get this amber kind of worked in there. Okay. Next one. The brush you use, you want something that's fairly soft to apply the gallery glass so that you don't end up with a lot of brush strokes. And be real cautious that your brush is not shedding. You don't want to come back and find hair stuck in your egg later. My tray always drives me nuts when I do this because something is crooked. I don't know if it's this. This is the same ceramic tray I used last week for the bacon. And it rocks on the tray under it. You're hearing strange noises in the background. The kitten is underneath the clay table playing with something. He's constantly into something. He's over a year old and he's still a kitten. Not sure he's ever going to grow up. Alright, last one. Now don't touch the gallery glass until it's all the way dry, because when it gets partially dry and kind of sticky, it's really easy to get fingerprints in it. I know this from experience. I'm trying to prevent you from doing the same thing. Now, so that I don't get tempted to do that, I waste a little gallery glass. Put out a little pool there. That way, when I come back and think, is this dry? I can touch that and not this. Because you know you're going to want to come back and touch to see if they're dry. Wipe off the tops of your gallery glass bottles. I've somehow bent that one. And then put the lids on tight and wash this paintbrush. It will wash out with soap and water while it's still wet. Once it dries, it's an acrylic type paint. It will be in there permanently. So don't ruin your brush and let these dry. Several hours is usually what I figure. So I'll be back when these are dry. Alright, so these are pretty much dry. They could probably stand a little more drying time, but I want to look at them. I want to move them. I want to touch them. They're dry enough to touch without leaving fingerprints. So there we go. Got the little bit of brownness down there in the bottom of our egg. Let's get all of these off. My paint scraper didn't do it. I have to use my clay knife today. But just very carefully work a sharp blade underneath and cut the and if you feel like you've got too much clear sticking out, you can go ahead and trim it off or tear it off. That one's still wet. But there we go. We've got eggs for the dolls to go with their bacon from last week. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Be sure and check the blog post. I'll go into some more details there. Check the Facebook page if you haven't already. The link is always in the description box, and it's the quickest and easiest way to get a hold of me. And let me know, do you want us to continue with this breakfast theme for a while? Are you guys enjoying breakfast for the dolls? Let me know. I'll talk to you later. Bye.